Song of a Star, a Solstice story, written by Cindy Arnold and the company Live Paint. Once upon a time, long ago, yet not too long ago, there lived a mama rabbit. She lived at the very center of a hill outside of a village, and in her hill she had built a beautiful little home with a fireplace and sturdy wooden beds for her 3 baby bunnies. And on top of her hill grew beautiful, majestic, tall, green trees that at times seemed so tall to her, when she looked up, she could not see their end. Now, Mama Bunny and her babies were so excited because they were getting ready to celebrate Solstice. It was the night before, and all the baby bunnies were snug in their beds, and Mother Bunny's sister was spending the night as well, and everyone was asleep, and she stretched, and she yawned and thought, perhaps it's time for me to go to bed too, when all of a sudden she thought she heard a song. It was almost as if it was calling her. She opened the door. Creak. She stepped outside, and she looked up in the sky to see where that song was coming from, and as she scanned the sky, she saw something beautiful. Oh, it looked like a jewel from her mama's necklace. It was in the sky. It was a star. It was the brightest star she had ever seen, and she wanted to get closer, so she closed her door. Creak. And she decided she would run to the very tippy top of the hill near her home so she could look even closer at the star. Hippity-hop, 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 hippity-hop. And there she was, at the very tippy top of the hill. The star could not be any closer to her. It was almost as if she could reach out and touch it, and there she sat, and she looked, and she listened, and she was very happy. The wind came. It blew across her face, and she felt it go through her fur, and she watched as it rippled through the tall grass of the meadow and smiled. It looked like water, and she watched as if the rolls of the sea were happening, and followed the wind, and then she noticed that she was not alone. The wind was now touching the fur of the gray wolf that lived near her. Now, anyone who knows rabbits and wolves know that although both are beautiful, they are not friends, sadly, and will chase and run. Mother Wolf had been looking at the star as well, and when the wind touched her nose twitched. And then she sniffed. And then her head turned and darted and looked at Mother Rabbit. "Oh, I did not see you there," said the gray wolf. Mother Rabbit stood very still, as rabbits do when they are just a touch nervous, and she said, "Oh." It was the star. The star, it almost called my name, and then I heard its song, and I had to come, and Mother Rabbit closed her eyes and waited for what was next. Mother Wolf looked at Mother Rabbit, and then she turned her face back up to the sky, and she looked up into the star and took a great big deep breath. And then she sat down and sang the song of her people to the star. Oh, she sang, and then she and Mother Rabbit laughed as the star called back. They laughed and laughed and laughed. And suddenly Mother Rabbit was not afraid anymore, and Mother Wolf only had her eyes for the star and its song. They got to talking. Time passed, and they shared stories of how was the best remedy to cure a cold or the sniffles, and also where could one get the warmest blankets for winter. And on and on and on the evening went, and they realized they had become friends. It was so late, and they must get home. Solstice celebration was the very next morning. Mother Rabbit turned to hop away, and Mother Wolf said, "Mother Rabbit, perhaps I should walk you home." And Mother Rabbit said, "Oh, I would appreciate that, Mother Wolf, greatly." And so they did. Mother Rabbit went into her home, looked down at her baby bunnies sleeping softly, dreaming of Solstice, and smiled and kissed their cheeks, and got into her bed and looked up at the ceiling and swore she could hear the song. And Mother Wolf did the same, looking at her wolf pups sleeping with their tails tucked under their chin, and she too, as she gazed at the earthen ceiling of her home, thought she could hear the star singing a song. It is said to this very day that if you find this village, if you find this forest, there's the strangest thing, a wolf and a rabbit who are friends. And every eve of Solstice Eve, you can find them at the top of a hill, looking at a star, listening to its song, and sharing tales because they are friends. The end, and yet a beautiful beginning. Song of a Star, a Solstice Story, copyright 2021 by Cindy Arnold and Live Paint. All rights reserved. For permissions, contact Cindy Arnold at livepaintevents@gmail.com. Thank you so much for joining me here. Thank you for spending your time, and may we join together in story soon.